Good. Happy Sunday, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. This is the portion of the show where I sit back, wait for the clock on the wall in the other room to finish chiming the top of the hour, and let all the notifications go out on YouTube. So if you're watching this on replay, go ahead and scrub past this graphic. We're just waiting for the clock on the wall to finish chiming in the other room. Then I reach over here and click the button and say, hey y'all, happy Sunday. Whoops, let me turn my light on so you can actually see that there's somebody here amongst this mess. Hope everybody's having a good day. Hope you got a little shop time this week. And hope, that everything's going well for you. As usual, I did not have a video this Sunday. I will have one next Sunday. Don't know what it's going to be yet. So we'll just do kind of an open Q&A and hang out and talk and see, what's going on with everybody out there. So if you have any questions about Vectric Software mostly, but I'll do what I can about any other topic, go ahead and throw them here in the live chat. Don't be shy. I mean, if I can't answer it, maybe somebody here in the chat can answer it. And see if we can get you taken care of. Oh, boy, we've got quite the crowd going so far. It's good to see everybody here and hanging around. And we did have a couple of questions already about a few things. Let me scroll back up here and find it. And T. Bunton wants to know, is there any chance you'd make a video of working with fonts? I've already got a couple, adding swashes, glyphs, and special characters to the stylish fonts. It seems third-party software is required to achieve this. Well, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by adding swashes, glyphs, and special characters. If you mean taking a font that's already out there and then making special characters in that style, creating fonts is kind of an art of its own. And you can go to a lot of places online and find fonts for free. And I did do a video on this. It's been many, many years ago. But I did a video on using dingbats, as they are fonts and they are scalable vector graphics. Dingbats, web dings, wing dings, whatever you'd like to call them. They come with Windows software. And there are a lot of people out there that make new dingbat fonts. Let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about here. I'll go into Aspire and we'll maximize the 3D view. For some reason, I'm in the Toolpath tab. Tap the letter F to center everything up. If I go over here into Draw Text and let all my fonts load, again, I've got way too many fonts. You can just do a Google search for dingbats or wingdings or webdings, and you will find more than you would ever want. They are a font, but they use artwork and they create special characters. So let me go choose a font here and I'll scroll down and just see if I can find one. There's an example. This font is called Bondini Ornaments, and you can see their little flourishes, snowflakes, little floral patterns, things of that nature. And I've got a bunch on this computer. I have way too many fonts. But they are known as wingdings, or excuse me, dingbats collectively. And here's another one that uses Cybertron, There are, this one here is all eagles. And basically the way they're used is just like any other font. I did a video on using these in your artwork and what have you. And here's one, it's a Star Wars font. And the way you use it is you just select the font, and then I'll come up here and I'll type a small a. And it creates, we have that character. Let me backspace here and do a small b and see what we can find. Yeah, there's nothing with the small b. Not all of them have something. There's Jabba the Hutt. D, E, the Princess Leia. Just all kinds of little things of this nature. So if you wanted to use this particular piece of artwork, close, and let's go ahead and drag this up to the center and hold down shift. Whoops, I didn't hold down shift. Lock him in the center right there, and that's basically ready for V carving. They're scalable vector graphics that are disguised as a font. And literally, you can fill up your computer with useless dingbats. And I mean, it's more than just pictures. There are, let's see, I have one that is banners, ribbons, and flourishes. And like I say, I just have so many, I can't remember what all I have here. No, those are actually fonts. Yeah, I don't remember the name of it. But it's nothing but ribbons and banners, etc. You can go crazy just doing a simple Google search for dingbats. And they are all scalable vector graphics for use in any word processor, and they work in VCarve or Aspire. There's, okay, Wingdings 2 and Wingdings 3 come with Windows. So you already have these on your computer. Let's go with a capital A, and that's a finger pointing that way. Change it to capital B. It's the finger pointing that way. See, you get the message. Small a is that little ornament right there. Close it. And let's go ahead and expand that up. Move it up into this corner. And we'll take it out of move and transform mode. Just select it. Rotate it 45 degrees. And bring it down like so. So they're there, ready to use, and you can do a Google search for them and find several different font websites and just completely load up your computer with things like that other folks have already invested the time to invent. Font creation, like I say, is an art of its own. There are a lot of people that get involved in that, and there are just way, way, way too many. So I hope that's what you were asking for. But there's all kinds of ways. Now, I have done, like I said, a video about that, how to get in and discover which fonts you have, which dingbat fonts you have, and how to figure out which one, how to select one and figure out which one to use. And I'll put a link in the description as soon as we're finished live here to that video. But basically it's using dingbats, scalable vector graphic. Hope that helps out. Let's see here. Okay, I see that Ayal Peleg and Michael Mazalik are talking about using a vise to hold items on the CNC, and they got into a discussion about a fourth axis. And Eyal was talking about using a rotary fourth axis. And Eyal said something to the effect that he can't fit a rotary axis on his machine. I kind of understand what you were talking about, what you two were talking about. You were talking about using it for double-sided. And Eyal was mentioning using a vise to hold double-sided projects and to be able to just flip it over. And small little pieces. There is a channel that I subscribe to called Pro Wood. And this is... I don't want to cast any aspersions, but at first this looks like one of those sites that takes somebody else's videos and uploads them to his own channel. It's not like that. This guy does some really intricate, really fascinating CNC work, as well as standard woodworking with hand tools, chisels, and what have you. And it's called Pro Wood. And he made a fixture for holding small parts on his CNC router that is, for lack of a better term, it's a manual rotary axis, meaning that he can put something between centers in this, it's like an indexing plate. And it uses a small arm made of plywood to hold a piece in one position, carve on it, then he can lift up this locking piece of wood and rotate it. He's got slots carved in a wheel. He can rotate it, say 90 degrees, and lock it in place, then carve on that side, flip it up, rotate it, lock it down. And it's only restricted by the number of slots and the position of those slots that get locked, but it holds the piece of material to let him carve on it, turn it around, carve on it again. I will put a link to his YouTube channel in the description as soon as we're finished live here. It's a real interesting little fixture, and he later upgraded it to where it's on a stepper motor so that it will do the unlocking and rotating by itself. Now, Eyal, you mentioned that your machine won't support a fourth axis. That's kind of a manual workaround to be able to hold something in place while it's being carved, then flip it and carve on that again. So I'll put a link to his YouTube channel and that video specifically down in the description as soon as we're finished here. But this guy does some really, really interesting, really intricate wood work, and it's called Pro Wood. So, let's see. And sorry for the dead air. I'm trying to catch up and read some of the questions here. Let's see. Joe of Wood Studio, Iowa. Trying to place a couple of 3D models in a 1/2-inch pocket on my 3/4-inch board. Playing with base and shape height, but can't seem to adjust so they are slightly above the bottom of the pocket. Okay, when you say you want the bottom of you want the base of the 3D model to be just above the bottom of the pocket. Well, let's see. If you want to place the model, the base of the model in the pocket, you'll need to do the vector border around the model and then your pocket border, and that's the part you carve. And then that's the part you pocket out, and then just carve your model from there. The pocket will not cut out where the model is supposed to be. I believe that's what you're asking. And if you're looking at where to position the model, again, that's over in material setup. I did a video on that, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? There in the material setup, that's where you set the model's position in the material. So you can carve out that pocket area, figure out that pocket depth, and that's where you place your model position in the material. I'll put a link to my model position in material video down in the description of this video as soon as we're finished live here. Let's see here. Okay. Let me go back up here. Suicidal at all times. Still love that name. I have a weird issue. My hard drive is partitioned. Okay. I can save to all my drives, but a thumbnail is only able to be made on one, and I can't figure out why. That's in the software or the settings for that partition. I don't know if you're using Windows or a Mac, but if you're using Windows, have you got what are the properties for that partition? Do you have them indexed? Meaning, has it gone through and made the database of all the thumbnails of all of the files within there? Or do you have it set for read only? Or, you know, that's the settings. Get into the properties of that. Get into the properties of the partition that it does display thumbnails, and then get into the properties of one of the other partitions and make sure that they match, and you should be okay. But that's within Windows itself. I believe you using Windows. I'm not sure. Let's see. Richard Canton wants to know, have you used the box creator gadget? Doesn't seem to be able to nest pieces to fit. I have not used the box creator gadget. I'll be honest with you. I don't use any gadgets. I draw things up myself and haven't gotten into using gadgets. So I'm not the person to ask, but if anybody can help out Richard Canton, feel free. Go ahead and dive right in. Let's see. Lewis Denton wants to know, what is the easiest way to remove intersections and overlaps in clip art? Is there a video? I have not done a video on intersections and overlaps specifically, but basically about the easiest way to get in and do it is you have to use your vector validator, zoom in on the area, select that vector, and go into node editing mode and take care of it manually. Sometimes, like if you have two vectors crisscrossing and a little loop at the top, I'll just go in, put a point where they crisscross and snip that loop away. And because usually when you have intersections, they're in an area that's so tiny you wouldn't see that kind of an edit. And when it comes to overlaps, you might have to add a point to a span and drag a vector away, or just adjust some handles. But there's no real easy way of doing it. You have to get in and adjust each individual overlap or intersection individually in node editing. And when you use the vector validator, it will put a symbol over the appropriate area saying, you know, showing you the symbol for either an intersection or an overlap. And you can zoom in on that, select that vector, and go into node editing mode and fix it. And then I'll usually do 2 or 3 and then run the vector validator again. But some of these areas are so small that you can actually delete entire vectors and you'll never notice the edit. So I have not done a video on it. I can. I'll put it on the list. Vector validator and cleanup. Not a bad idea. Okay. Yeah, not a bad idea at all. Let's see. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. Tommy Jaskulski. How would you go about tiling a 3D carve through Y? I watched a video by Design and Make showing a wildlife scene, and their workpiece was 60 inches in X. They didn't show how to tile this in Y. Tried to convert the file to Y and generate a toolpath, but it didn't work out. Basically, you would have to rotate. Okay. I'm assuming you mean that your y-axis is your longer axis and you tried to rotate everything 90 degrees. I have never tiled myself. I haven't needed to. But basically, after rotating all of your artwork and your material 90 degrees so that the long axis is Y, you would tile it just like any other toolpath. If you can successfully tile in X, you can successfully tile in Y. It's just 90 degrees off. Now, again, I have never tiled a project. I just haven't needed to. So I may be talking out of my hat here. But I would take that Design and Make video and where they showed how to tile that in X and just rotate everything 90 degrees. Because you're tiling the toolpath, you're not tiling the artwork. So, let's see. Joe of Wood Studio IA talking again about the positioning of the model with the shape and the base height. Okay. But the base height shows a negative 0.375 as max. Have you previewed it? Okay, the pocket is carved to 1/2 inch deep. Yes, I did carve around the 3D models. Okay, again, get into material setup and position that model so that it's positioned where you want it. If you position that model, let's see, the pocket is carved to 1/2 inch deep. If you want that model to start at 1/2 inch deep, put a 1/2 inch gap at the top. And then it'll start carving that model. So long as there's enough room underneath, enough material left underneath to carve it. So, okay, yeah, there's IL helping everybody out with the helping everybody out with how to show the show icons and show thumbnails and what have you in the Windows Explorer. So, Chris Leach, have you ever done two-sided work like a bowl using domes and dishes, and do you have any pointers? You know, Chris, I've had a video partially finished on doing just that, using a dome and a dish. I have not actually gone out and carved it, and that's what I'm waiting on. I've got my old shop kind of cleaned out to where I can get to my machine to be able to do it. But that is in the works. I'm going to be making a serving dish using a dome on the bottom, two-sided carving project using a dome on the bottom and a dish in the top. I just haven't gone out and carved it yet. Now, having said that, I have done a couple of videos on designing a model that way. And in one, I showed how to create a little foot. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did one. Yeah, it's been about 5 months ago. I will go ahead and link that in the description here when we get finished live. Let's see. Two-sided 3D dish, it's called. Let's see. And I did it about 5 months ago. I'll put a link to it in the description of this video. But having said that, I just designed it. I did not go outside and cut it. But it's fairly straightforward. I do have another one in the works where I'm going to go outside and actually carve it to show you what it works. Let's see. Lewis Denton wants to know if you have a project ready to carve, including tool paths. Can you resize without recalculating the tool paths? No. You will have to recalculate the tool paths no matter what change you made. Let me back up on that. You can resize it all you'd like, but the tool paths you have are calculated for the model or the artwork or the vectors before you made any changes. So it doesn't matter what you do with the artwork. If you don't recalculate those tool paths, the tool paths are the original tool paths you created. So if you have a 4-inch diameter dish, you calculate the tool paths, then you go back and you change that to a 6-inch diameter dish. Those tool paths are still calculated for a 4-inch diameter dish. You have to recalculate them. So, let's see. Mike Mazalik says the machine they have has the X and Y reverse shopbot. So they did cut the Y as we know it, but for them, the Y is their X. Okay. Well, all right. There we go. Okay, Suicidal at All Times says it's not an Explorer issue. When I hit save in Vectrix, it says some thumbnail cannot be created, but will save the data. I wonder if that is anything to do with the settings. No, it wouldn't have anything to do with the settings in Explorer, because if it was read-only, it wouldn't let you write to the disk at all. You might send a email to Vectric Tech Support on that. I've never run across that issue. If I save something in VCarve or Aspire, it will show you the thumbnail. I've not run across a case where it wouldn't do that on any of my hard drives, and I have several hard drives and thumb drives. But even if I put a CRV file on the on a thumb drive on my other computer, if I'm designing in there for some reason, and I plug in that thumb drive in here, there's a thumbnail on the thumb drive. So I've never run across that. I would go to Vectric's website and send a email and see what they say. It may be a Windows setting. It may be a setting in VCarve or Aspire, whichever you're using. I'm not sure. So let's see. Excuse me. I need to get a good mute button here that's easy to find. Let's see. Joe of Wood Studio IA says Becky from Vectric did a two-sided bowl project that was a dish on top and a dome on the bottom side. Yeah, it's fairly straightforward. The thing you have to remember is the thickness of the material in between. So if you check out that video, as soon as I get it posted, the two-sided 3D dish, you'll see what I mean. So, let's see. Okay, Eric Girth says, carving is great. My problem is staining and painting. Do you recommend any videos to help me finish my work? Off the top of my head, no. Because it is... I'll get to it, Norm. Thank you very much. I'll go back up and look. Finishing is one of those things that you can get as simple or as complex as you want. Probably the simplest finish is sand with fine grade sandpaper and clear coat, whether that be lacquer, polyurethane, shellac, varnish, whatever. Uh, when you start going beyond that, it gets a little bit more complex. There are YouTube channels dedicated to finishing because that is an art form of its own. I am the world's worst painter. I'll freely and openly admit that. And I hate that about me is that I can't paint my way out of a paper bag. I can fake it, but my stuff looks good from about 5 feet away. You get any closer, I find problems. But basically, finish will not fix mistakes. You have to have a good base before you start finishing. I mean, sanded, nice and pretty, no deep scratches or gouges. Paint will not fill in, chip out. And if you're using enough paint that it does fill in, chip out, it's probably going to shrink and crack on its own. Just start searching YouTube for finishing videos, and you'll find some good ones. That comes down to basic woodworking, and there's no one source that's the best. It's just something you have to pick up, learn as you go along. I'm not that good at it. I can fake it, but I'm not really good at it. And I've been doing this for 50 years, so... Okay, let's see. Okay, Norm says, I have a picture of my pet that I wanted to put into a bowl like you did 2 weeks ago. Okay. It's an STL file, the best to use for conversion. I have VCarve desktop, so what is a good program to convert a JPEG to an STL? Okay, for converting a JPEG to an STL, you're going to need a 3D modeling software. And Aspire is good. Blender is good. There are a few others out there. ZBrush, Rhino. But in order to do what you want to do, you are going to have to draw out that, basically trace that photo to make vectors and then convert those vectors to 3D. Now, Michael Mazalik would be your man to talk to about this. He knows, he's forgotten more about 3D than I've learned so far. But as of yet, I have not found any software that can make a good passable 3D model out of a photo. That just, you can get close, but most attempts to use any automatic methods, you can tell they tried to use automatic methods. It takes somebody who knows what they're doing to make it look good. Again, Aspire, I don't know, maybe Fusion 360 can do it. I don't know that. I've never tried. But something like Aspire, Blender, or ZBrush, or all of the above is going to be the program to do it. But I've never done it myself. I've never done it. Okay, sorry about that, but that's the best. Lewis Denton, thank you very much for the super chat, super sticker. I appreciate that. I did not miss it. I had to scroll back up and didn't see it. So, let's see. John Thompson, Mark, can you turn a color image into grayscale in Aspire? I believe you can, but I find photo editing software works better for that. I use, personally, I have Paint Shop Pro from Corel, but that was because I got it as part of another package. You can do it in Photoshop or any other software, photo editing software. But yes, Aspire does have in their photo ed. They've got a kind of a basic photo editor. Let me bring it up here and make sure I'm sharing. I am. Okay, if you come over here to the picture editor, you load a bitmap, go in, select the bitmap, go into the picture editor, and you can convert it to grayscale right here. I find, though, that you get a lot better control in the photo editing software. You can adjust contrast, brightness, and gamma, but photo editing software is made to do that. This is a kind of a bare bones, what you see is what you get type editor. It does a fair job, but I find photo editing software to do a better job. So, and I'm just used to doing it that way. So I do need to do that as well. I need to get into importing bitmaps and converting to grayscale, etc. Let's see. Let's see. Michael is talking about a video of his in which he is. Okay. I don't get it. Okay. And Mark Kulig makes an excellent point. Remember to check out Michael Mazalik's video later today. He has started a series on basically pushing the limits of 3D within VCarve. And it promises to be a very good series. I don't know how many videos you have planned for the series, Michael, but basically he's talking about, in today's video, he's talking about completely changing the look of a 3D model, changing it up entirely. And I'm very interested in this. So we'll see. IL Peleg says there's no automatic conversion of images to STL in Fusion 360. Okay. Dave Matthews said Mesh Mixer in Fusion 360 will do the STL, but you will have a learning curve, open paren, big, close paren. It is all manual. Okay. Michael says it is a two-part series, JPEG to 3D. Okay, cool. JPEG, oh, I see. JPEG to 3D, that video's coming out in 2 weeks. Oh, I get what you're saying. So there's your answer, Norm. Thank you. Michael, it's, JPEG to 3D. I tell you, I get asked about that a lot, and I've never done it. That's part of the problem. I've got to get this shop done so I can do these things. So, yeah, I get asked about converting a JPEG to a 3D model a lot. So, let's see. I think I got caught up on the questions. That was kind of like a mad dash. Holy cow. Yeah. Okay. Terrific. Do a little bit of gratuitous self-promotion here. I was yesterday a part of my CNC Guru's Dave Gatton's virtual meet and greet. He decided to do a virtual meet and greet on his YouTube channel that ended up lasting about 4.5 hours. He live streamed, and I was on for a part of that. It was a lot of fun. He just decided to turn on the camera, bring some guests on, and spend some time talking. And it was a lot of fun. I will put a link to it. I'm sorry I didn't do it already. I'll put a link to it down in the description of this video when we're done. If you have 4.5 hours to kill, it's worthwhile. You don't have to listen to all of it. But I'll tell you, if you're not already subscribed to Dave Gatton's channel, shame on you. It's a lot of fun. He's got some good stuff over there, and he is the one who I'm basically his fault, and we discussed that on his live stream yesterday. So it's worthwhile. There's some good content over there. Some more gratuitous self-promotion. as Vectric has made it official by announcing it on their channel, I will be presenting at the 2021 Users Group meeting in San Diego, September 10th and 11th. They give me a half hour a day to present to everybody who attends. So if you're going to the 2021 Users Group meeting in September, I will see you there. Come up, say hi. I'm going to have a pocket full of stickers I'll be passing around to folks. And if you are thinking about it, if you're still on the fence, you don't know, decide quickly, because spaces are limited. And they have also teamed up with the hotel that this is going to be presenting at, the users group meeting is going to be held at, and there's special room rates if you mention that you're part of the Vectric user group meeting when you book your room. They've really made some good deals. So if you're thinking about it, not sure yet, make up your mind fairly quickly, because space is limited. They've only got a certain number, the rooms can only hold a certain number of people. Just on a personal note, if you're on the West Coast, you may want to do this, because I don't know how long Vectric has been doing the user group meetings, but I think this is the first one I can remember that they actually did the West Coast. I know they've done several on the East Coast. I think they did Denver one year. I may be wrong. They may have done the West Coast once before, but not in my recollection. So if you want to meet the Vectric crew, Becky and Todd and a few other people, I don't know who all is going to be there. If you want to meet the folks who Vectric collaborates with, I don't know who all of the presenters or speakers are going to be. It promises to be a fun time, but make your reservations pretty quick, because it is filling up. So let's see. One other thing is next Sunday, and this is going to be a busy day for me, because next Sunday I will be doing my normal live Q&A here, but I'm going to have to make it a conscious effort to kind of keep it under 45 minutes, because I'm also going to be a guest on the Makers International podcast, which will start at 1 o'clock my time, 1 Pacific, so that will be 4 Eastern next Sunday on YouTube, and I'll put a link to the Makers International podcast YouTube channel down in the description of this video. They have not set up the podcast episode yet, so I don't have a direct link to that. So basically, when I get that direct link, I'll put it in the description of this video, and the description of next week's video, and the description of next week's live stream. So as soon as I get that link, you'll all get it. But it's Makers International podcast. They have, I believe, 2 hosts in the United States, 2 hosts in the UK, and they talk about all things making, all things woodworking, metalworking, you name it. They asked me to be a guest next Sunday, so I will be. That'll be 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And then as soon as I'm done with that, I get to beat feet back over to Michael Mazalik's video and hopefully get into part 2 of his pushing the 3D modeling capabilities in VCarve. So let's see. Steve Perdue asks, I'm learning how to create epoxy river objects. Cool. Can you carve CNC on the epoxy after curing? It depends on the epoxy. Get a hold of the epoxy manufacturer and ask them that question. Some you can. I know for sure you can. Some is a little bit Not all resins are the same, and not all epoxies are the same. I use, get it up here. I use Stone Coat countertop epoxy, and yes, I can uh, machine that after it's cured. Some epoxies have to cure for 30 days before you can do anything like that. Some 24 hours. So just contact the epoxy manufacturer and ask if you can route or CNC or carve their product after it's cured. So, but I know some you certainly can because I've done it. Let's see. Okay, Michael Mazalik says they've been doing the shows since they started 15 years ago. The norm was east, then central, then west. Now it's just east, west, alternating years. Oh, good. That's we talked about this yesterday on Dave Gatton's live meet and greet. I did a lot of complaining for several years about none of the woodworking shows were coming out west. That they forget how spread out the West Coast is. So if you say, well, we went to San Diego, well, that's a bit like saying, well, we went to Atlanta. You know, you've got people 1,000 miles away on the West Coast who can't get down to San Diego. You know, it's a bit like expecting folks to drive from Maine to Miami. There may be one or two who will, but most of the people won't. So we don't get a lot of events out here. And in fact, 2019, when they announced they were going to hold the 2020 meeting in San Diego, I decided, you know what? I've shot my mouth off about this so much. I better go or I'm just going to get trashed. So yeah, I can't wait. That's why I'm going. So it's good to hear. I'm glad that they're going to be bouncing back and forth between East and West. So let's see where they go next year. Who can tell? Just anywhere but Portland. I'll have to say something to them. Oh, and if that offended anybody from Portland, get used to it. I'm a Southern Oregonian. What can I say? We have the North-South fight here all the time. So, all right. Looks like the questions are slowing down. Let's see. Joe of Wood Studio IA says to Eric Girth, I found the book Understanding Wood Finishing by Bob Fleener to be a great resource for learning the different finishing techniques. Yeah, there are a lot of resources out there, but as I say, finishing wood is kind of an art of its own. I mean, you can layer you can layer stains, you can layer toner sprays and glazes and just get so many different effects that it's almost crazy. You can spend your life studying nothing but wood finishing. Just depends on how technical you want to get on it. But there are a lot of videos out there that'll really help you out. Okay, I see John Harold is asking about files or components that will not do sculpt tools. What do you mean by that? You don't want to do 3D carving? Get in and draw some vectors. I believe I said in my 5 things I wish beginning CNCers would stop doing. I think it was number 3. Don't rely on other people to do your design work for you. Get into your software. Learn to use it. That's what this channel's about, is to help you create those files. And I'm not singling you out. This is for everybody out there. I'm not calling you out, John. Get into your software and do something simple and basic, you know. Okay, no, the tools won't function or sculpt. I don't understand. I don't understand. No, I'm sorry. I don't understand what you're asking. just some files. Well, again, draw some 2D vectors, do some pockets, do some profiles. Um, I find an address sign for the house, even if you don't hang it up. I found an address sign to be a good basic project to start with, and work your way up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. It's we've been going for 50 minutes. I will get these links in the description as soon as we're done here. Let's see, that was dingbats, the link to ProWood, the two-sided dish, Dave Gatton's virtual meet and greet, and remember, today at 2 o'clock, there is already a link in the description of this video, a link to Michael Mazalik's video. Let me see, what is the title? I already have it opened over here. It is called, let me go back and, no, I don't have it open. Let me go back and find it. 3D Model Manipulation in VCarve Part 1. And boy, has he manipulated that model. It looks nothing like the original. So that'll be at 2 o'clock Pacific this afternoon, 5 o'clock Eastern this afternoon. And we will see you over there. There's already a link to it in the description box. And I will see you all next week. I don't know what the video is going to be. We'll find out together. So until that time, y'all take care. And now go out and do something cool. Make a few chips. Come back in. I'll see you at Michael's video. And have a great day. Later.